I've replayed that night more times than I can count, every glance, every word, every second, because the truth is, if I hadn't trusted that one small, quiet instinct, I wouldn't be here telling this story. It started like any other family gathering, and that's what makes it terrifying. There were no warning signs, no dramatic tension, no loud arguments or slammed doors, just soft laughter, clinking cutlery, and the illusion that everything was fine. I had invited everyone over for dinner that evening. It had been my idea, a rare attempt to bring the family together after months of distance. Life had gotten busy, relationships had grown strained, and I thought maybe, just maybe, one simple dinner could fix things. Looking back, I almost laugh at how naive that sounds. My sister Nadia arrived first, as she always did, carrying a homemade dessert and that familiar, tired smile she wore like armor. Behind her was her husband, Cameron, quiet and polite, already scrolling through his phone like he didn't expect much from the night. "Smells amazing," Nadia said as she stepped inside, hugging me. "It's just pasta," I replied. "Nothing special, better than anything I've made this week." Both laughed, and for a moment it felt genuine, normal, safe. Ryan arrived late, of course he did. He always made an entrance, even when no one was waiting for him. "Sorry, traffic," he said casually, stepping inside like he owned the place. I noticed something immediately. It wasn't what he said, it was how he said it. Too calm, too controlled. Ryan was many things, charming, impulsive, sometimes arrogant, but calm wasn't one of them. Tonight he was different. He hugged his mother quickly, nodded at the rest of us, and then his eyes landed on me and stayed there just a second too long. "Hey, Aunt Sarah," he said with a small smile. "Ryan," I replied, forcing warmth into my voice, but something inside me shifted, a quiet discomfort I couldn't explain. Dinner preparations continued, and soon everyone was seated. That's when Ryan stood up. "I'll handle the drinks," he said. I almost told him no, almost, but I didn't want to make things awkward. I said lightly, "Be my guest." I watched him as he moved into the kitchen. There was something deliberate about his movements, not rushed, not hesitant, precise. Like he had done this before. When he returned, he carried a tray, 6 glasses, each filled, each placed carefully in front of the right person. Wine for Nadia, soda for Cameron, water for the others, and for me, orange juice. "Favorite?" I said, raising an eyebrow. He smiled. "I remember things." Something about that answer didn't sit right, but I couldn't explain why. We began eating. Conversations started flowing, but my attention kept drifting back to Ryan. He wasn't eating much, barely touching his plate. Instead, he kept glancing at me, at my glass, then back at my face, waiting. The realization didn't hit me like a lightning bolt. It crept in slowly, quietly, like a shadow spreading across a room. He was expecting something. My fingers tightened slightly around the glass. I lifted it, paused, then lowered it again. "You okay?" Nadia asked. "Yeah," I said quickly. "Just hot." I forced a smile, but inside my thoughts were racing. I looked at the juice again. It looked normal, smelled normal. But something inside me screamed, "Don't drink it," and for the first time that night I listened. "Actually," I said casually, standing up, "I think I want something colder." Ryan's head snapped toward me, too fast, too sharp. "I'll just grab something from the kitchen," I added. He said quickly, then caught himself. "I mean, I can get it." "It's fine," I replied, smiling. "I've got it." I walked into the kitchen, my heart pounding so loudly I was sure someone would hear it. The moment I was alone, my expression dropped. I stared at the glass in my hand, then at the counter, and that's when I saw it. Another glass of orange juice, half full, sitting slightly apart from the others. Ryan's. The decision I made next changed everything. I didn't think, I didn't hesitate. I switched them carefully, quietly. His glass became mine, mine became his. Then I took a deep breath and walked back. No one noticed, no one except Ryan. His eyes immediately went to my glass, then to his own. Then back to me. Confusion flickered across his face, then something else, something darker. "Okay?" I asked, sitting down. "Yeah," he said, forcing a smile. I picked up the glass, the one that had been his, and took a small sip. "Nothing, just juice." I placed it down calmly and waited. Ryan didn't touch his drink, not right away. Minutes passed, slow, heavy. I could feel it building, something invisible, like a storm about to break. Finally he reached for his glass. Time seemed to slow. He hesitated, just a fraction. Then he drank one sip, then another, and for a moment everything seemed fine. He even smiled. But then it started, a twitch barely noticeable, then a blink too slow, then his hand tightened around the glass. "Ryan," Nadia said, frowning. "I'm fine," he replied, but his voice wasn't, it was slurred, unsteady. The glass slipped from his hand, it shattered on the floor, and then he collapsed. Chaos exploded around me. "Ryan," Nadia screamed. Cameron jumped to his feet, chairs scraped, voices overlapped. But I didn't move. I couldn't, because I knew that was supposed to be him, that was supposed to be me. The paramedics arrived within minutes, the house filled with urgency, flashing lights, and questions no one could answer. What did he consume? Any allergies? Any substances? Everyone talked except me until someone asked, "Did you notice anything unusual?" I looked at Ryan, then at the broken glass, then back at the paramedic. I said quietly, "I did." Truth unraveled slowly after that. The hospital, under bright lights and quiet tension, tests confirmed it. There had been something in the drink, a sedative, strong, fast-acting, dangerous, not meant to kill immediately, but enough to incapacitate. "Do you know how it got there?" the officer asked. I hesitated, then nodded. And then I told them everything, the way Ryan had watched me, the way he insisted on pouring drinks, the way he reacted when I stood up, and finally I switched the glasses. Silence filled the room. "You what?" Nadia whispered. "I had a feeling," I said. "I didn't trust it." Her face went pale. "You're saying," she struggled, "that drink was meant for you?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. The investigation did the rest. Ryan had debts, massive ones, the kind that don't disappear, the kind that follow you, and then the insurance policy taken out months ago under my name. I didn't even know it existed, but someone did. Ryan, he was the beneficiary. The room felt like it was closing in. He planned this, Nadia whispered, tears streaming down her face. I stayed quiet because deep down I already knew that night could have ended very differently if I had taken one sip, if I had ignored that feeling, if I had trusted him, but I didn't, and because of that I was still standing, and he wasn't. Ryan survived, barely. But things were never the same again, not for him, not for our family, trust shattered, illusions destroyed, and me, I learned something I'll never forget. Sometimes danger doesn't come from strangers, sometimes it sits across from you at the dinner table, smiles at you, calls you family, and waits. But that night I didn't fall, because I listened, and 5 minutes later he hit the floor.